Hi, this is Tavi Greiner, Astronomy.fm's Vice President of Communications. If you enjoy our programming, please let us know with a donation to astronomy.fm/donate. We really do rely on your support, and it's true, every little bit counts.
AFM.
Program complete. Enter when ready.
The curtain of night is drawn back. The telescopes are trained. The domes are open. The audience is set.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Event Horizon here on Astronomy.fm radio. It is another Friday night. We're live here in November
and we can
the
take
2nd.
Over the world.
Go. November the 2nd, 2018, 9 o'clock in the evening for those of us here in the eastern portion of North America. It's also Universal Time Saturday morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, Saturday, November the 3rd. But coming up in a few more days, we're going to go back to Eastern Standard Time. So from Universal Time will be a 5 hours difference. Yes. So
you know what? I think, Marty, this is probably the best time to say, let's get rid of daylight savings time.
A lot of people are saying that.
It's a pain in the backside.
Yep.
I think the whole world should go on GMT, or Universal Time Coordinated.
That would be interesting, but different. Sunset would be different times for everybody in the world. Lunch would be at different times for everybody in the world.
It already is.
Mm-hmm. Just because, well, if you go back to the UK, you'll be centered up, and nobody else will be. So that's why you want it.
Well, the daft European Union is talking about doing away with daylight savings time.
Yeah, the US has been talking about that too. So it might happen. It's okay.
They've gone a stage further. They've actually now got a draft law on the table. Mandating all EU members, even those who are leaving the club, have to, by 2019, scrap daylight savings time. Which will be nice because, as I say, I live on UTC anyway. My computer's on UTC. Hi, Mark. Hi, Starstorm. Hi, Glenn. Hi, Richie. Hi, Marty.
Yes.
Me too.
People in our AFM chat room. If you want to join our AFM chat room, please do come on to the main webpage, astronomy.fm. You'll see down near the bottom where it says chat. Just click on that, type in a name, erase anything that's in the password section, and then hit login. You'll be in our chat if you want to talk to us directly. You can do that through our chat, especially while we're live right now. Usually not in the chat room. I found
a very nice way to mellow out before the show.
Okay.
I listened to Ravi and Anushka Shankar. Then I'll go and watch something really, really pulse thumping like the Welsh Guards and the Taiko Drummers. That was an awesome video. I was watching that earlier.
Okay.
So, yeah, as I say, it's one way. And I was going to say something else. Oh yeah, I've got the main computer back. I am back on the main PC again.
Oh, how nice!
It is very nice. It is 8 cores of power. It's clocked at 4.2 gigahertz, and I can't. Hi, Richard 3. Glad to see you here. It's like it's quiet. No one can actually tell my computer's on at the moment.
Oh, that's good. Well, I can't tell if the computer's on anyway. I can't hear the fans anymore. The decibel level, my ears won't pick up anymore. So.
Yeah. Well, as I say, I'm told that the computer noise was almost as loud as my snoring. But I guess that was just one way the processor was telling me, I'm dying, please fix me. I did. I put a new board in. I
should have put in a new fan.
Well, the processor was dead. It was kaput, snuffed it, gone. That's just like the Norwegian Fjord Blue. Completely and utterly deceased.
Okie doke.
But that's what happens to computer processors when they're running 24/7. Yeah. This thing's been running 24/7. The original board and stuff has been running 24/7 for about 4 years. Solid. Doesn't go down unless there's a power cut.
Time to upgrade.
I did.
A little bit.
Put an 8-core processor in to 4.2 gigs. I switched all my RAM and memory card and video cards over, so I'm back on 2 screens. I love it.
There you go.
It's kind of nice. I actually tried processing an image on the new system, and it was so like, it's done.
Wow, nice.
Wow. Yeah, I'm using Nebulosity from Stark Labs, and like, this was quick. Normally, it's even with the quad core, it takes a little while. Not happening. This was like boom.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm really glad I made the upgrade.
Right.
And by the way, we actually do have an authentication fan in Thailand.
We have a fan that's in Thailand.
Yes, because as most of you know, like, all the shows after Rob has tarted it up, to put it politely, and got rid of any squeaks and whatevers, comes to me. I pull up. I've got some software on here. I stick a couple of nice images, well, 3 images from astronomy.fm, and a couple which are definitely the Event Horizon biased, and I put it up on my YouTube page. I've been getting quite a few people subscribing, and they like the fact that they can sit there and look at all these pretty images, well, 3 pretty images from astronomy.fm, and they can listen to us again.
Nice.
It is, and I think really this is what we if I could get the Pirates shows, I would do it for the Pirates. I'd put them on YouTube too. And
well, we're working on things. We're trying to get some images back live images back during our shows again too sometimes. So we're trying.
And of course, the other thing is, it is much. I found it very, very easy because in the comments section for the YouTube videos, I put all the links from the show.
Nice.
That's all there. Thank you, Starstorm. I really do appreciate the fact that you're collecting all the links for us.
There you go. Thanks. All right, let's figure out what's up in the sky a little bit. How about that? Want to start with space probes or just stuff happening?
How about the fact that the US decided to test its anti-ballistic missile stuff? Basically, it's under my... yes, I know. I'm answering the question. Yeah, Redshirt 3, it's under my Gmail account, bedfordshireastronomer@gmail.com. So this put in there. Let me just go back to this quickly. Sorry, I'm being asked for this. Home.
What are you looking for?
I'm being asked what my account name is.
Oh, your account name for your YouTube channel. Gotcha. So somebody could go on your YouTube channel and see. So
basically, it's all on my YouTube page. Comet Watch has got its own one as well. And slowly, See, the thing is, in order to have separate channels on an account, you have to have verifiable phone numbers. You're only allowed 2 accounts per phone number. Now, in a few weeks, I'm getting my UK SIM card. So guess what? I will then create a one for Pirates. As soon as we can start getting Pirates and I get the link still sent to me, as soon as I can get that, I'll find a couple of pirate pictures. Maybe have you, Marty, grab pictures of yourself and Diane.
Sure.
And we can put them in there. I can stitch them together, and then you can look at Marty and Diane and the old graphic from astronomy.fm and listen to the shows and follow the links at the same time. It takes me roughly an hour. It took me 2 hours on the OBSI PC. It took me an hour on the old quad core. I haven't done it yet on the octa-core. I'm going for at least 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes at most.
That's a good. If you have a channel, shouldn't proper grammar make it be called YourTube instead of YouTube?
Well, as I say, we have to go with the brand name that it is. It's called YouTube.
Pirates would be YoTube.
Yeah, or RTube.
RTube. Yeah, there you go.
But as I say, I can call it that, Marty, if you wish.
Already.
When I set it up, I can call it the RTube Space Pirates.
There you go.
Yes. So basically, what's happened is there's been another ABM system test in the US. They shut down a fake nuclear missile to demonstrate the fact
a fake or a dummy.
Well, it's been described in the news as being a fake. Obviously, it's just another. It's probably an ICBM without a warhead.
Okay, I mean, well, there's a cardboard version or the virtual version,
No, this apparently was a genuine test. This is the third time they've tested the system.
Oh.
If everybody remembers a few years ago, the U.S. Navy using, I think it was an F-18 and an Aegis missile system to take down a rogue satellite that was threatening to re-enter and possibly dump its deadly fuel all over a populated area. So Russia and as Black Project is saying, Russia and India have now tested the same system, so we can all now shoot down each other's missiles.
Yeah, perfect. And if we coordinate on the same frequency, maybe we can all shoot down the same asteroid. That would be nice.
Well, yeah, but I don't think missiles are going to be the thing to take out rogue asteroids.
No, it depends on the size of the asteroid, though.
Yeah, do we really want turn into huge chunks of shrapnel? It was a kinetic kill. No explosives involved. They just use shock to do the damage. Which, if you think about it, if we're talking about maybe a MIRVs, then it's probably better.
Well,
slightly better.
Shock would have to be done in an atmosphere.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like an air pressure explosion would not work in a vacuum.
No. This is kind of going back to some degree to the old Reagan Star Wars system of being able to use a laser or X-ray pulse laser to take out enemy satellites or enemy missiles. It's probably a lot more effective weapon. It's third time they've tested it. I think at the moment they're 2-1. So yeah, it's in some respects it's good. We can actually, if there is a rogue satellite, we know we can actually deal with it. I think it really threw the Russians certainly got wobbler. They weren't too pleased, and then all the Chinese at the time. But having said that, they are all getting their own systems. And the nice thing, of course, was the target was not in orbit. It had already technically gone through re-entry, and no space junk, which is always good. That's
even better. Yep. Well, we got a couple of launches coming up, and just the opposites. We got still waiting for the Ionosphere Connection Explorer ICON mission to launch, but that's due to launch sometime after November 7th. No firm date yet. On Wednesday, November the 7th, we got a JAXA cargo spacecraft that's actually going to undock from the space station, so that's something to look forward to. As I tell everybody, see if you where it undocks. If it's undocking over your area at nighttime, might be visible with a telescope. So I always wanted to see something undocking from the space station. Thursday, November 15th, we've got a Northrop Grumman cargo mission launch to the space station. So we got stuff going up and down all over the place. Oh, and hopefully, speaking of down, but down gently, Monday, November the 26th, hopefully the InSight mission will land successfully on the planet Mars. They've been waiting for that one. So we'll have, hopefully, by the end of November, we'll have another scientific probe on the planet Mars. This one's supposed to test the interior, or I should say, sense the interior of Mars. And usually that way is if you send a pulse onto the planet and then read the bounce back, it comes back to the probe, and see how much time it took and if the frequency changed. It kind of gives you an idea of what's underneath the probe.
Seismic sensing.
Yes, indeed.
But the good thing, the important thing about this really is the fact that if we are going to try and send scientific colonies to Mars with an eventual maybe civilian colony attached, we need to know more about the Marsquakes. We know they happen, but we don't know what the actual tectonics are involved.
Yeah, probably nothing major.
I would agree.
Pretty much tell ahead of time.
But the thing is, it's still something we need to know about.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, particularly if you decide to use the Martian equivalent of lava tubes, or go into underground facilities, you need to know what your Mars quake conditions are going to be,
or how stable your
or how stable the actual
underground.
overhead is.
Yes, indeed. Yep.
Now, Black Projects has put a link to the Sprint ABM system. It's a YouTube video, so if you want, you can go have a look at that a bit later.
Well, I know how lava tubes are going to collapse on Mars or on the moon. See, what you have is an adventurer all the way in, and then somebody trips over something and the roof starts caving in, and the cave-in will always occur right behind the footsteps of people running out of the cave.
Yeah. Have you been reading Paul Spurdis and Patrick Moore again, Martin?
Nah, I've just been watching movies like Raiders of the Lost Ark and stuff like that.
Okay, since we have invoked the moon, I was actually as most of you know, I do post the L pods, the old L pods,
Lunar Picture of the Day.
Yep, and it's still going strong. It has its own Facebook group now.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some very interesting stories. Now, this is one that was reposted today, and it's called...
is that the squiggly rill?
Yes, it's a rill within a rill.
Yeah, where's that picture? You got that picture?
The link is actually in there. There's a very large image from...
It's in our chat room?
LROC page. Yes, the link is in the chat room.
Okay.
And it's a sinuous rill winding its way across a much larger rill in the heart of the Arcturus Plateau. Now, the image width is 1.76 kilometers. This is an image from NASA, GFC, and Arizona State University. Vallis Scotori, the largest rill on the moon, originates on the Arcturus Plateau, and it's comprised of three key morphic features. The Cobra Head, the primary rill, which is 155 kilometers long. The inner rill, which is 204 kilometers long. Now, rills are believed to have formed as large volumes of very fluid magma erupted and flowed rapidly from the vent. They're still not quite sure how the rills were formed. That's one of the many questions that future human lunar explorers will get to answer for us. Currently thinking is that the molten lava may carve a channel in the lunar surface, which is an erosional model, or levees may form at the margins of the flow, confining it, constructional model. Some lunar sinuous rills may have started as collapsed lava tubes and were later modified to their final forms. And of course, the lunar sinuous rills do form by volcanic eruptions, but the details of how they get their river-like shape is still a mystery. Now, the LROC NAC frame, which is above, shows a section of the inner rill about halfway down its length, where it's at about 600 meters wide, and the primary rill is about 4,300 meters. Now, the greatest thing is this mission has provided very high resolution stereo images of many of the lunar rills, which is going to help the scientists discriminate between the competing model of formation. And the really nice thing is the actual plateau is very geologically complex. It's a rich and it has easily accessible deposits of potential resources. So it's good in future human manned missions to the moon. This will make a very exciting landing site. Now, in the image, it's uncalibrated data. North is up. Image width is approximately 1.76 kilometers. You can actually go through the whole of the NAC image and enjoy it.
I'm looking at the link that you published, and there's two pictures on it. One of them's the upper one, which is pretty square.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a rill there, kind of a real wide, barely snaking image, and it looks like a lot of tiny little collapses in one part of it. Is that the rill that we're talking about? And I know the lower picture is something else, but go ahead.
Okay, so the upper picture.
Yeah, what's the upper picture?
Is the sinuous rill winding its way across the larger rill.
Okay, so that would be a little rill inside of the larger rill is what you're saying.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, now the bottom one, which is like an elongated picture, is actually zoomable, which is really cool.
Oh, yeah.
You can
move
it around.
Focus, yeah.
Yep, move it around, and especially that squiggly stuff near the top
rill.
center there. Yep, that's the rill. All right, zoom in. It's really cool to zoom in on that. and you can get pretty good. The resolution just keeps picking up. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
I see what it is now. I see where that reel is now. Gotcha.
Yeah.
When I zoom in on the lower picture, which is the only one that you can zoom in, that squiggly part,
Yeah.
that's the same picture as that square picture above it. Gotcha.
So what they've done, they've given you a marked image of the various craters and the end of the primary reel, the end of the inner reel. They mark a buried crater. There's Herodotus, Acturus itself, and they show you the cobra head. But a lot of this is obviously it's a lighting effect.
Right.
So the snake you're seeing is due to lighting.
Okay.
It's like everything else. It's like the Werner X, and the Y configurations. You can see at first quarter. Which is I guess is everybody's. It's the first quarter moon. Get outside. Get the scopes out. Oh bugger! I missed it. But as I say, this is the thing I so love. Yeah, I'm a comic guy, but I love the moon because when I can't do comics, and perhaps I've just gone through all the comics which are available to me direct in the Northern Hemisphere without having to log in to a remote telescope. I can go onto the moon. There's mountains. There's domes you can look for. There's rills. There's never a dull day on the moon. Seriously, everybody's it's dead. Yeah, but there's still stuff you can see. If you're looking at it over the lunaration, the light aspect changes. Obviously, yeah, we're used to the full moon. Everything's blasted, but there's still you can still look at features like the Mare and some of the larger craters. But as the sun moves across the face of the moon, as the Terminator moves, there's a lot of things you can see. There are things that will come out into sharp relief that you will not see at full moon, and so it's never dull. You have a huge list of projects you can do. You can spend the rest of your life imaging various different things on the moon. And you're not going to get bored because the lighting is always changing. It's never the same. So you may come out one night that you come out, it may be early. The Terminator it's a crescent. You can see the sharp Terminator. You can see perhaps a few craters. You can see some of the Mare, one of the Mares, or at least part of it. And as that Terminator creeps across the moon, the whole thing changes. And next month, next lunaration is not going to be the same.
Yep.
So there is this potential to do huge. You can sketch it, you can image it, you can take people on trips with your telescope, and you can show them places. All right, we can't directly say there is Apollo 15, Apollo 11 or whatever, but you can show them the area. You can show them Tranquility Base.
Yep.
You can show them Mare Tranquility. You can show them the Frau Moreau Highlands and say that is the area where this Apollo mission landed. This is where they did that. I just picked up a new book on my Kindle, and it's about the history of the lunar and Martian rovers, the evolution of wheels on the moon and Mars. It's fascinating. They talk about how they warp speeded the lunar rover project.
Quote unquote warp.
Yeah. This is the event horizon. We do things like that. We warp around places. But the thing is, they actually sped the program up because they decided to end the G missions and go into the high-end H missions. After the Apollo 13 failure of them to get there, but they had to come back. They decided to ditch the rest of the G missions. They went with the H missions, and they started sending manned vehicles to the moon. The astronauts are not limited to how far they can walk in 30 minutes. They're not limited into how much kit they can take to a location. They can now travel. They can bring a higher level of specimens back from a greater area. And really, it was those lunar rovers that helped pave the way for Opportunity and for Spirit, because the program went from being a lunar rover to being a Mars rover. So in a lot of respects, both missions really depended on each other.
Yep.
And the sudden need to go into the high-level science missions because of the fact that they lost one mission. So from 14 onwards, they're now doing the H missions, the high-level science stuff. And this is where all the geologists are going, ooh, can't wait for this stuff to get back. I can't wait to play. Because they're getting more toys. They're getting more samples to investigate. We're suddenly being able to go to a larger area of the moon. And I'll be honest, part of man to Mars has to be man back to the moon. It is the best place to test everything that's going to go to Mars and be used on Mars for a human habitat.
Yeah,
and apart from that, it's also the easiest place to do let's face it, if something goes wrong, it's easier to get to the moon than it is to get to Mars.
Yep, indeed.
Oh God,
if that'll help you. I just found the third picture down below the other two, and that gives a much better idea of what the reel within a reel really looks like. On the close-up pictures, you have to kind of make sure you kind of adjust your eyes to figure out which way the lighting's coming from. On these pictures, especially on both of them, the light is coming from the left on these pictures. You got to make sure that you know where your left and right, because that makes a difference between a crater and a hill. So in the big picture, I can see some rocks because they're casting shadows. And when you get down to the middle picture that you can zoom in on, that squiggly reel, sometimes to me it looks like it's a raised section because my eyes are kind of playing tricks on me, so it looks like a raised section instead of a lower section. So you got to convince yourself that even though the light looks like it's on the right, that would be the light's actually on the left, so that would be a raised area. The sunlight's actually hitting that raised area, and where it's dark, that's shadowed causing by something on the left side blocking it. So, and down when you get down smaller craters in the bottom too, you got to convince yourself those are craters, not hills. Even though your eyes can kind of flip things around backwards, and a crater can look like a hill. So you have to kind of be able to figure out which way the lighting's coming from to see it.
This is the nice thing. This is the nice thing about the Jackson mission, about Changi, about Clementine. And about Apollo, because they all imaged the moon under different lighting aspects, under different altitudes. And with Apollo, certainly the command module pilot, his main thing was taking photographs of the moon, and he could actually the command module pilot could actually get very, very good and advantageous aspects for this picture. So this bottom one is an Apollo metric frame, and it just shows you how good the image is and how easy it is now to see that that the actual reel is a depression. Yes.
Would they still think it's a collapsed lava tube, the reels? Or lava that overflowed and gouged the channel? What are they thinking?
Well, the moment, the argument is still wide open.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, we haven't really had a chance to explore a reel. We've been to Hadley. The only reel we've been to is Hadley Reel.
Kind of going way back to craters. Were they volcanic or were they impact?
A lot of the theory is now that a lot of the eruptions were caused by impacts.
Right. But originally, lunar craters were they trying to figure out were they really calderas from volcanoes, or were they impacts? Now it's obviously that most of the craters on the moon are impact zones, and some of them are volcano, but like 99+% are impact zones. And now they're still got to figure out the rills and a few other things like that. Which the rills, by the way, are basically sort of, I don't know what it really means, but sort of another word for river. Yeah. It's a river-shaped object on the moon itself.
And this is what caused the confusion, because it appeared to be like a watercourse back on Earth.
Yep.
So a lot of people were thinking, oh, maybe it was caused in the same way. Well, replace water with magma.
Yep.
So yes, you have the possibility that it cut a channel, and eventually,
If that's possible without freezing and filling it in. So it's kind of like, well, what was it? And then the other option was, well, it was magma, lava, basically, that was running underground. The tube emptied out, lunar quakes occurred, and then the tube collapsed.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at is a collapsed lava tube, or at least partially collapsed, and then filled in with dust and other impacts and stuff like that too. So still debates on that kind of stuff.
And of course, the other thing is, some of these pictures actually do help you to see the difference between a crater and a buried crater.
Yep.
On the bottom picture, they actually mark a buried crater, a ghost crater.
Yep.
And
Rills,
you can
see, rills are fun to look for on the moon. If you're sick and tired of looking at craters, look for rills. Those are much more fun, I think, when you get down into some detail on the moon.
Well, I think the greatest thing about this is the fact that we're still turning up. We're still looking at images, and we're still finding stuff that was missed the first few times around. Because this information is now out there. It's been digitized. It's been put on the web. You can do things like the Moon Zoo that was up and running for a long time. BP is saying in the chat room, latest info: lunar volcano was less than 1 million years old. I could go with that, given the fact that at that point, less than 1 million years ago, there was still a very heavy there was still a bombardment going on.
Million years ago? Not a whole lot of million years ago.
Yeah, not as much as the late Great Bombardment. I agree, Marcy.
Because the Earth would have been hit 1 million years ago, and there was well-established life. In fact, that was early humanoid life 1 million years ago.
1 million years ago.
Yeah, because their humanoid life was, generally about 2 million years. It was loosely about 1 to 2 million years or something like that. So, and then pre-creatures like smaller than chimpanzee creatures before that. So I know modern humans go back, Neanderthal and stuff, like 200,000, something like that. So definitely humanoid life in the 1 million to 2 million year range. So I don't see any major extinctions of humanoid life.
Mark's put a link into the chat room for you on moon volcanoes.
Okay, great. By the way, let's do a little station identification because we're halfway through our programming. You are, of course, listening to the Event Horizon here on Astronomy.fm radio. It is another Friday evening, and this one is November the 2nd, 2018, about halfway through our program, about 9:30 in the evening. Also, Universal Time would put it at 1:30 in the morning, Saturday morning, November the 3rd, 2018. Next week, Universal Time is going to change. We'll be starting at 2 o'clock in the morning, Universal Time. So keep that in mind for next time you tune in. Our time change will be Saturday night to Monday morning for us. This is Friday night for us. So
okay, so the Cretaceous Pliocene extinction event was 66 million years ago. That's when we lost half of all animal species, including mosasaurs, petrosaurs, plesiosaurs, annamites, belemnites, rudist, and incremid bivalves.
How long
Platonic formula? 66 million years.
6 million years, that's all? Okay.
And all the dinosaurs excluding the birds. So
that was 65 million years ago.
That was 66 million years ago.
You're right. Okay.
Okay, so
I thought you said 6 million.
1.2 million years ago, evolution of Homo ancestor.
Yep.
So 1.7 million years ago, the Australopithecines, which were those really huge apes. And at 350 Ka, evolution of Neanderthal starts. So just so you know what the Ka is, I'm just going to scroll back up. I found this really good chart. Where's that gone? Because it tells me. Anyway, I'll put the link into chat. It's an evolutionary thing on life.
All right, sounds good.
No, the dinosaurs. No, the dinosaurs wouldn't have seen it.
Okay. No, that was well after the dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, well
after the dinosaurs. Yes. Let's see. couple missions have ended, actually. Major space missions have ended. Kind of semi sort of planned, but still kind of a shame. One of them is Kepler.
Okay.
Kepler mission is done. That was the planet finding mission that had a phase 1. And then I think it ran out of coolant and then went into phase 2 where it was doing still some science data. So it ran out of coolant, and then after that, just this past month, it ran out of fuel for actually steering it. And was that hydrazine or is that something else on Kepler?
Hydrazine is fuel.
I can't remember if that was Kepler had hydrazine or something else. Well, anyways, the Kepler mission is ended. So no more images coming out of that one. And the Dawn mission.
Yeah.
That's the one that traveled from, first orbited around Vesta asteroid, and then went on to Ceres. And that one just ended too. Again, that one ran out of fuel for pointing. So we cannot steer it to point its antennas back at the Earth and send back information anymore. So both of those missions are down and up. But they did fix the Hubble mission.
Yeah.
Which had
Hubble back online.
Yep, Hubble's back online, which had, it wasn't fuel, it was gyroscopes to help. They used gyroscopes, spinning discs to help point it. And then they went to I think they were actually running on the backups, and then they went to the primary after a long time. Unfortunately, the primary gyroscopes are still working.
Okay, so Ka on this timescale means kilo annum, which is thousands of years ago.
Gotcha.
So if you think about it, the Earth was 4,600 mega annum, which is millions of years ago.
Okay.
They reckon that 4,500 MA was the impact between the Earth and the hypothesized planet Theia, creating the Moon.
Okay.
So, and the earliest of life possible appearance was 42,080 mega annum
ago.
But the late great bombardment was only 41,000 to 38,000 MA ago.
Okay.
So, a long time ago.
Yeah.
Dragula Races, yeah. Hi, Optronics. Hi, Aqua for you. Welcome to the show and to the chat room.
Indeed.
But as I say, this will give you a good timeline for what happened and when. We're still arguing the formation of the Moon. But having said that, there must have been some part of the Earth involved, because there are common minerals and common isotopes found by the Apollo missions. So it does mean something definitely happened to the Earth. Somehow it took on a mighty whack.
Yeah.
When it was still forming, and it must have ejected enough the material which eventually became our Moon. Because that's the only way we can actually say that's true. Right. Is because of the isotope and mineral matches from here on Earth.
A lot of collisions back then. I think a lot more than people really think about. Yeah, there was just nonstop collisions back in the early formation of the solar system. So some fairly moderately large bodies came together, but appeared, and then they crashed.
And then, of course, we also had the migration of the gas giants and rocky core planets from the outer. The rocky core planets came from the outer solar system. The gas giants went out into the outer solar system.
Yes, originally they thought from the inner part of the solar system. So things are moving around.
Yeah, but
a lot of slingshotting, gravitational assisting.
Well, that's the great thing about astronomy. It is an evolving science. Slingshot? Astrophysics and astronomy, astrobiology. We have spin-offs now, planetary science. They're always evolving. We're finding new information. We're finding out how it fits in, and does it prove or disprove the current accredited theory. Sometimes yes, sometimes it may give a little bit more of credit and authenticity to a theory. But it's just one of those things. It's an evolving science. It's not a case of, well, you know what, we know what chemistry is all about. We've been doing it since the Middle Ages. Not much new. We're just making more different compounds with more reactive stuffs more safely. But as I say, it's just one of those things. Yeah, that's true. I remember one of the comments made about the fuel, the hypergolic fuel that was used on the lunar module. Yeah, this is a one-shot system. We test it, the engine's done, it's finished. It can't be used again because the stuff was so corrosive, so bad. It's either going to work or it's not going to work, guys.
Some of the fuels were two chemicals that, as soon as they mixed together, they fired off. So that's why some of the rocket engines, I think some of the thrusters in the Apollo missions were that way. So basically guaranteed to work as long as both fuel tanks were pressurized or both pumps worked, whatever system they used. Just had to squirt the two chemicals together in a chamber, a thruster cone.
Do you know what they used for the first viable rocket fuel?
First viable rocket fuel, I do believe, was kerosene.
Well, actually, the most viable form was actually hydrogen peroxide.
Oh, they use that. Well, that would be the oxidizer. So I don't think that was the fuel, but that was the oxidizer.
But as I say, they actually used hydrogen peroxide. It was a very hot propellant. Mm-hmm. They actually used it in the V2s. They used kerosene on the V1s, and they moved to hydrogen peroxide. In fact,
it had to be peroxide with something else, though. So I think peroxide just the oxidizer. So it had to have some other fuel with the peroxide. One is your fuel and one is your oxidizer.
Well, the big joke was when Britain had a space program that actually rivaled that of NASA, was the fact that we were launching our rockets. We were testing our engine in the Isle of Wight near the Needles. And, of course, we were using hydrogen peroxide as a rocket fuel.
I don't know.
The big joke was, what's in that tanker, mate? It says, it's the stuff that makes your hair go blonde.
I was going to say, if hydrogen peroxide was flammable, then a lot of blondes would have flaming red hair. So I do think it needs a fuel to go with the hydrogen peroxide. We'll have to look that up, or maybe somebody like maybe Mark in our chat room Black Project.
He's actually, Mark has put a link into it to stuff that's called C-Stoff. It's a reductant used in bipropellant rocket fuels as a fuel itself. It was developed by Helmut Walter in Germany during World War II. It was used with T-Stoff, a high-test peroxide, as an oxidizer, which together with C-Stoff as the fuel forms a hypergolic mixture.
What's the C-Stoff made out of?
Okay, so it's a reductant. I'm just trying to see what they say about it, because it is apparently highly toxic to humans. They used it they tried to use it as a fuel for the Messerschmitt Me-163, and it was catastrophic. This stuff
too volatile then.
Yeah,
because basically it exploded before it flamed up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it sustains a uniform combustion through sufficient quantity of it's using hydrazine. We all know what uses hydrazine.
So I'm not familiar with hydrazine, but okay.
Okay, it's a propellant that's used on a lot of satellites.
But is it petroleum based, or some other chemical?
Okay, in fact, hydrazine hydrate is it's N2H4 with H2O 30% by weight. Oh my God, this stuff. Yeah, I can see why it's top. Hydrazine hydrate. Hydrazine, here we go. It's an inorganic compound called dimidhydrogen. It's a simple pinuctide hydride. It's colorless, flammable. It's an ammonia-like odor. It's highly toxic.
Okay.
And the only way you can handle it is in solution as a hydrazine hydrate.
Okay.
It's used as a foaming agent in preparing polymer foams. It's a precursor to certain pharmaceuticals and agrochemicals. And it's used in various rocket fuels. It's used in the nuclear and conventional power plant systems as an oxygen scavenger to control concentration of dissolved oxygen to reduce corrosion.
Ah, okay. Definitely don't want to use for rocket fuel dihydrogen monoxide, though. Definitely don't want to use that.
Yeah, basically, you wear what they call a noddy suit. which is a nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare suit.
Yeah.
It's the only way you can handle it. It's used for moving thrusters. Spray it on a platinum screen, and it decomposes to steam.
Some of you can look up dihydrogen monoxide a little bit later. All right, let's get some other stuff going on here. Let's see a little bit of what's up in the sky. Just a couple notable things coming up on Tuesday, November 6th. Mercury will be at greatest eastern elongation, farthest from the sun in the west, but the southern hemisphere, because the ecliptic is so low, the southern hemisphere is going to get the best view of Mercury above the horizon. Wednesday will be new moon. Just want to get those through real quick. Parker Space Probe just flew by the sun at record-breaking speed and record-breaking altitude. I can't remember what the altitude, 25 million miles, I think. Not its slowest. It's going to be eventually, as it circles around the sun in a very elliptical orbit, it'll get down to about 3 million miles away from the sun. And it's one of our fastest. It is our fastest space probe, and the one that's been the closest to the sun out of all of them. A couple of occultations coming up first week in November, mostly through Sagittarius. A couple stars in Sagittarius and Capricorn will get occulted by the moon, visible from more southern hemisphere Australia and western Indonesia and stuff like that, Central Asia. So nothing good for North America. Meteor showers. Definitely want to get out and look at some meteors. Now, maybe there's like multiple quote-unquote showers, which would really, they're pretty small, but combined together, I guess you could kind of sort of make them one big week-long meteor shower.
So, okay, Marty, going from the top, active from September 23rd to November 27th, you have the Orionids. They produce about 20-25 shower members at maximum. In exceptional years, which was like 2006, 2009, peak rates were on a par with the Perseids, 50 to 75 per hour. Now, this parent object is 1P Halley. Okay, peak night is normally October 21st, 22nd. So the peak has gone for that one. Okay, so the Southern Taurids, active from September 23rd to November 19th. The Southern Taurids are a long-lasting shower with several minor peaks in October and November. It's active for about 2 months, but rarely produces more than 5 shower members per hour, even at max. Now, the Taurids, both branches, are most notable for colourful fireballs and are often responsible for an increased number of fireball reports through September through November. The parent object is 2P Enki. The Southern Taurids are currently active. Peak night to October 28th, 29th, so that's pretty much gone. We're talking about a ZHR of about 5, velocity 17 miles a second, slow. What else do we have? Oh, the Northern Taurids.
Yep.
October the 19th to December 10th.
Peaking tonight, actually, or last night.
They're peaking around the 10th and the 11th.
Oh, really? I've got it peaking at the 2nd. So.
Well, I'm going by the IMO webpage. Okay. So they're active from the 19th of October to the 10th of December. It's a bit more active later in the year when the 2 showers are active simultaneously in October. Early November, there is an increase in fireball activity. There seems to be a 7-year periodicity with those fireballs. 2008 was the last remarkable year. Perhaps, this is talking about 15 being the next one. So that's gone. No, the Leonids are active from November the 5th through November 30th.
Yes.
They're best known for producing great meteor storms in 1833, 1866, 1966, and 2001. Parent object is 55P Temple Tuttle.
Those are comets, by the way. All the parent objects are comets that have flown by the Earth.
These outbursts are best seen when the parent object, which is comet 55P Temple Tuttle, is near perihelion, closest to the sun. Yet it's not the fresh material that we see from the comet, but rather debris from earlier returns that happen to be most dense at the same time. Yep. Unfortunately, we will not encounter any dense clouds of debris until about 2099. So therefore, when the comet returns in 2031 and 2064, there will be no meteor storms. Perhaps several good displays of Leonid activities where peaks may be in excess of 100 per hour. The best we can hope for now is for 2030 is peaks around 15 until 2030 rather, is peaks around 15 shower members per hour, perhaps in an occasional weak outburst when the Earth passes near a debris trail. The Leonids are often bright meteors with a high percentage of persistent trains. Again, the peak night is about the 17th to the 18th.
Yep.
And so what else do I have? That's it. But as I say...
So right now, you got a really... Beginning of November, you've got a really good chance of seeing meteors in general. Even though they might be coming from different constellations, right now you've got get some clear skies. The moon's mostly gone. If you get some clear skies, which I haven't had for 2 weeks, you got a pretty good chance of seeing some meteors. So get out there, even without your telescope. Just get out there where it's dark and do a little...
Get a nice deck chair, a nice warm blanket or a duvet around you. You call them comforters over here.
Uh-huh. A thermos full of warm liquid.
Yeah.
Or several thermoses.
Yeah, and let you give it at least 15 minutes. Let your eyes get accustomed to the dark. A red flashlight would be a good idea.
Better than a white one. Yep.
Oh, always much better. Red light does not damage your night adaptation as much as someone's putting on their super duper 1,000 lumens mag light.
Yep.
I actually used a 1 million lumens one to turn off a couple of streetlights around here a few years ago, and I got a visit.
That's why you got to use a laser. Nobody sees the beam when you use a laser. Yeah, you use that spotlight. They'll notice that. I used to use a laser. I put it on a tripod and I aimed it at the sensor for the street. I turned off the entire street of lights, and nobody could tell where it was coming from or what happened. So, and then later I just shut it off, and the lights came back in a few minutes, and nobody had to come out and inspect the lighting system. So, no problem there.
In fact, it was funny because the officer who had a word with me about it, when he realised I was actually just trying to shut the lights down for a few moments so I could actually look at the sky, he did actually, he had a look himself, and he was oohing and ahhing over the actual, well, you could actually finally see.
Yes.
There's about 4 streetlights gone, and it was like, he says, well, you're not doing any damage. You haven't damaged the light. It's not like you've taken a BB gun and shot the thing out.
Nothing illegal about.
Nope, nothing illegal
lighting
at
up
all.
streetlights. Yep.
So he went on his merry way, and I guess he went and told all his mates about it. It did happen in a few other areas, I'm told. And, of course, a couple of years ago in the city of Milton Keynes in the UK, they cut off all the street lighting.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, only because they're trying to save money. But it was like a bonanza for the astronomers. It's like, wow, I can actually see the sky again. None of this dull orange glow. It's like, ooh. Wow.
Like I said, if you use a laser, especially a red laser, because those sensors are usually more sensitive in the infrared. The red laser is closer to that, and it's really hard for anybody to see where the laser is coming from to hit that sensor. So you won't get any visits if you use a red laser.
Now, Mark has put something in the chat room, which I think we should really cover. 22002 VE68 is an Atan type potentially hazardous asteroid. It has a diameter of 240 to 530 meters. It's a near-Earth asteroid, and it's one you could actually, if you've got a good telescope system, you can image and track.
When's it coming? That link didn't work for me. It was a Facebook link.
It's a Facebook link, but I bet I can get it. I know where it comes from, so I can go back to the.
Okay, I checked my near Earth asteroid section of spaceweather.com, and it wasn't listed on there.
Okay, so North Heart.
Let me double check that though. Double check space weather, but I didn't see anything coming really close to us. Tonight there was a small one, only about 60 feet in diameter, that was going to come by within a little farther than the moon, but almost not worth mentioning because it was only 60 feet, even though, and then it was like 300,000 miles away, so that would have been a little too small to see. But that was the only thing that was really close to us. Nothing certainly at 1,000 feet in diameter.
Here is the SP on this asteroid. It's a quasi satellite of Venus. It's going to make a close approach on November the 4th at a distance of about 0.038 astronomical units. That's about 5.6 million kilometers. It's expected to peak at about plus 15 mag at that time. It is observable at about 15.4, and it will begin to fade soon.
68. I found the link. VE68. Okay, yeah, it's going to be pretty far away. Let's see, 14 lunar distances divided by 4. That's 3.5 million miles. If that's visible, that's going to be a really faint one. Yeah, it is that side.
It's worth trying for.
Yep. There's another one actually coming right after that. It's closer. It's only about 2 million miles, 7.8 lunar distances, and that one's about the same diameter, about 1,000 feet in diameter. So that one actually should be a little bit better to see. That one's 2018 TF3. Again, now, if you go to spaceweather.com and go down to the near Earth asteroid section, you'll find those lists.
The link I've just put into the YouTube link actually shows, you can actually see it going across your screen. It's a very short video. Okay. And let me just cancel the...
Yeah, if you got the equipment to take some decent pictures of it, that'll work too. All right, got about 5 minutes. We got a few other things to go through.
Now, the other thing I found, let me just come out of that.
Got a comment coming in too.
Yeah, Vitron.
Nope. Yep. 46P, which Vit, but it starts with a W. If you're looking it up, WIRTANEN is going to be coming up from Cetus through Taurus and through Auriga in the month of December, and it can be bright enough to. This is supposed to get up to 8th magnitude, something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so what have I got here? Observed magnitude in Cobbs is 8.2. So I'll put the link into the chat room. We should be recording Comet Watch on Sunday. So there is a link to the Sky Live.
And this is for the comet now, right?
This is for 46P Vitron.
Okay.
So what have we got here? It's right ascension 2 hours, 0 minutes, 19 seconds. Deck minus 33.68. Estimated magnitude from JPL is 13.2. The observed magnitude is 8.2. Coma diameter is about 16.9, and that's degrees.
Here's a finder chart, by the way. I put it in our chat room.
That's already, if you go to the Sky link, that's already in there as well.
Okay.
Find a chart there as well.
All right.
I actually use the Sky Live a lot, and of course, Comet Chasers is a good site as well.
Observers, if you want to check out the AAVSO, American Association of Variable Star Observers, there's 3 alert notices. There was a nova in Norma. That was a week or so ago, got up to about 8th magnitude. I think it's kind of faded back down. Beta Perseus Algol, very famous variable star because it's eclipsing binary system. One star goes in front of the other, but there's also a third component, and that's going to be eclipsing pretty soon too. So they want some observations of that. Now the dimming is really faint. I mean, like 0.1% or something like that. So it's gonna be really tricky. You're gonna have to use some DSLR cameras to be able to pick that stuff up.
Okay, according to Comet Chasing, 46P Vitron will reach perihelion in mid-December. It's going to pass within 0.01 AU of the Earth. Predicted. I am saying predicted.
It's pretty close.
A maximum brightness of magnitude 2.5.
Okay. That's the comet you said?
That's the comet, yeah.
P46 second magnitude comet.
It's gonna come up. They're predicting a maximum brightness of magnitude 2.5.
Wow, that's actually really bright. That's definitely naked eye. That's nice if it gets that bright.
So the other one, of course, is 38P Stephen O'Mara. It will reach perihelion in nearly November. In mid-December, this comet passes within 0.8 AU.
Okay.
And predicted to reach a maximum brightness of about 6.7 in late November. So there are a few out there.
Yep. And we've kind of hit the real close to the end of our program now, so I want to thank everybody that's been listening in. Really appreciate that. Everybody in our chat room too. Really thank you for joining us. Don't forget that we got more programming coming up. Go ahead, Nick.
Okay, Captain Savick, this is the away team. Starstorm, myself, and Marty ready to beam up. Energize.
And here we go.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for coming. We'll miss you.
We hope that you've enjoyed this program from AFM Radio, the broadcast service of Astronomy.fm. This program has been released under Creative Commons license. Please contact us for details. You may find more of our AFM original programs on our website. It's really easy to find us. We are Astronomy.fm. You may also find us in the iTunes radio listings near the top of the News Talk section, and also as an iTunes podcast selection. We'd love to hear your comments. Please email us at radio@astronomy.fm. Thanks so much for being part of the voice of astronomy around the world and across the known universe. This is Astronomy.fm Radio.
Hi, this is Tavi Greiner, Astronomy.fm's Vice President of Communications. If you enjoy our programming, please let us know with a donation to astronomy.fm/donate. We really do rely on your support, and it's true, every little bit counts.
AFM.
There I was, doing my thing. And all of a sudden, wham! Astronomy right between the eyes.